Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this morning's webinar on why Business Central can fit an organisation, any organisation, requirements and/or budget. Presented by myself, Dan Booth, Lead Pre-Sales Engagement Consultant here at m-hance Limited. There's a lot to get through this morning, so what I want to do is do the introductions and really talk about why you might be looking at moving to a new ERP system, but then we'll get into why Business Central, we believe at m-hance, is a brilliant fit for any type of organisation in any sector. I know there's a number of people on the call this morning from our charity and NFP sectors, but we've got other sectors as well. So I do want to touch on how and why Business Central is so flexible to fit around your organisational requirements, any organisation. And then we'll talk about the different type of budgets that we have, the different installs, different types of delivery that we offer here at m-hance. And then we'll get into the product itself a little bit at the end, going through what it looks like and how it works with the wider Microsoft stack. Because one of the key things that we look at and say an investment in Business Central is also an investment in Microsoft, and people are used to using Microsoft-based products such as Excel, PowerPoint, potentially Power BI and things like that. So we'll go through and look at the easy interactions between these, which some of the old legacy financial systems don't have as easy as what you're going to see in the next 45 minutes or so. So a bit of welcome and introduction. First of all, about me, I'm Dan. My background is accountancy. I'm a qualified senior accountant. I've worked as financial controller in organisations previously. I joined m-hance. My passion is about data and understanding data and really getting the analytics out of the system across most functions of an organisation. I joined m-hance about 8 years ago now as reporting, really going through a master of hidden worksheets on an Excel workbook, macros and all that. But I'm also very passionate about simplicity in finance. I like my finance system being for finance people only. I don't like non-financial people in my finance system, but I want to make it as easy as possible. I mean, efficiently, you need to have in your organization a system that it's not resource intensive getting transactions into a finance system, but it needs to be a sort of enabler to be able to allow you as finance people, as IT people who are on the call, to really have the data at their fingertips to make key strategic decisions. And that goes across all levels of the functions within this ERP system. AP teams need to be able to get an age creditors out very quickly. Credit control teams, an age debtors out very quickly. TBs quickly in Excel. So you've got to have that. And part of my role is to look at systems and look at the Microsoft technology and really highlight to our prospects and potential customers just how easy it is using Business Central to get this information out and the other products within the Microsoft stack. A couple of pieces of housekeeping. During the session, all the lines will be set to mute to avoid any unnecessary noise interference. And because we've got quite a packed session and there is a bit to go through, at any point during the presentation, please feel free to type in questions into the chat panel. What I will do, because what we find on sessions like this is that some of the questions are really organisational specific. We'll go through them afterwards. I'll go through them individually after the session has ended, and I will come back to you. If you want to leave it to the end, on the final slide, as always, my contact details will be provided, and our resources, m-hance resources, will be on there as well. So if you want to email me directly afterwards and just have a chat and just make some comments, absolutely no problems. My contact details will be on the final slide. There are a number of prospects on the call, so if you are a current customer and you're thinking about moving to BC, please bear with me over a couple of these slides. You've probably seen them before, but a little bit of an introduction to m-hance. So we are one of the largest Dynamics partners in Europe, as you can see there, turnover, number of staff, and we've got a lot of experience in delivering Microsoft technology, but ERP systems to our customers, and we understand customers of cross-section and cross-sector. All of our sorts of nice little certificates and gold partners there and statements from there. But couple of things that I want to draw your eyes to are the utilising the full Microsoft Office 365 product stack. New financial systems have a difficult learning curve as it is, but the benefit of using Microsoft is you can use and interact really seamlessly with the products that people are used to using, Outlook, Excel, Word, things like that. And what we also do, and I will touch on this, we internally, if Business Central, and I'm being perfectly honest, was the be all and end all and did everything, every customer, every organisation would use it. There are holes, gaps, so where other products are stronger. But what we do at m-hance is internally we've got a development team, so we can add value by developing and plugging any areas that we feel need to be plugged. And we also engage with a number of third parties for real sector specific product enhancements as well. So we believe that the core structure of Business Central is very, very stable, and we can enhance it either ourselves or through our chosen partners to make sure that any organisation has what they need when implementing a new finance system, such as BC. And this is a subsection of just some customers who we're working with currently on Business Central. This is only, I'll just pick some at random. We've got cross sections here of sectors. We've got asset management, we've got service industries, we've got charities, we've got building organisations, we've got stock, all that sort of stuff, North Township, and people like that. Business Central is a very wide-ranging ERP and finance platform. So it's not specific to sector. We can do Business Central implementations for any business with any requirements. And just at the bottom left of there, that's not just on the slide, our m-hance logo, we use Business Central ourselves. So we wouldn't, we implement Business Central, we implement it to a level, and we'll talk about that throughout the session today as well, around what Business Central can achieve, but also what Business Central can achieve if you want to think about things slightly differently dependent on your requirements. And then m-hance use it, we do current project profitability, customer profitability, without using a project to job costing module and things like that. So we have our own internal experience of using BC as well, which I think makes a difference when I'm talking to customers that we've been through it internally as well. So I'm not teaching anybody on this course, okay, but some of the reasons when we talk to prospects and customers who are thinking about moving from one of our current systems to BC, these are the common reasons. Your growth, your silo systems, your data duplication, your report limitations, and your manual processes. These are all things that people, especially as people come into an organisation, new people, look at legacy things and think, why have we done it? Why is that happening? Well, because we've always done it that way. We've got data all over the shop. The organisational growth is a very strange one because there are financial systems out there that potentially, if you even do if you've got a wide chart of accounts with segments in, if you create a new department, you've then got to create another 60, 70 chart of account codes that you might only be using 4 or 5 and things like that. So, there's a lot of things on there that are the key drivers of organisations wanting to look at and change their current finance systems. And there's a lot of concerns with that as well. So, concerns with software, cost of software, cost of implementation, your implementation timescales. And that's not just from how much you're going to pay a partner or a provider to put that in, but also your implementation resources that you need internally as well, and system complexity. And there's all these are going around, and sometimes people put off upgrading when they really know they should do because of these different concerns around cost, around internal resource, around your internal resources and how they're going to adapt to change and things like that, because there is learning curves on any new system that you put in. But that's where we believe that we can help you, Microsoft can help you, and in particular, which is the reason for the session today, why Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central can help you as well. Because it really does, it's one of the better systems out there, and it really is flexible and scalable for your organisational requirements. So what is BC? you know, how can it fit into your organisation? Well, if you don't know about Business Central, what it is, first of all, it's cloud-based. So it's not on-premise. You don't need any server. You don't need a server in a dark room somewhere. And it's priced per user per month. You can access, you know, you can assign licenses by your Office 365. So you can control who's got access to what. It's got role-based security, things like that. So it really does allow you to have more control on a monthly subscription service, technically, to Microsoft. It's unified with Office 365. So, you know, all your common programs, as I've mentioned previously, your Excels, your Outlooks, things that people are used to using on a daily basis, Business Central unifies into that. And we'll show some examples of that in the next sort of 10, 15 minutes or so, just how easy it is for your different people in your organization with different skill sets to be comfortable in the data entry point of view side of things and the reporting side of things, really not needing to be technical whizzes to get data into a system. But really that unified, as I said at the very start, an investment in Business Central is also an investment in Microsoft as well. But as you would expect from any cloud-based system, and especially with what's gone on over the past 2 years or so, Business Central, with it being cloud-based, is accessible via mobile and tablet devices. There's a specific and dedicated mobile app on the App Store or on Google for Android devices. So you can access Business Central data, you can enter Business Central data, you can review Business Central data from any location, which sounds great, but when you get asked to do it if you're on a beach on holiday, that might not be as appealing. But as long as you've got a suitable connection, you can access Business Central data. And you know, part of what you would expect now in cloud-based solutions, as I said before, what's gone on in the past 22 years has really made people who are on legacy systems and older on-prem systems think about that accessibility area. But for me, the biggest thing, and as a Business Central partner who we have people throughout the pre-sales process and throughout the delivery process, we don't need to oversell anything. And I think I'm sort of preempting some future slides, but Business Central, we have Business Central in organizations from 2 to 3 users up to 200, 300 users. And it's scalable. It does allow you, and you know, we're not rocket scientists here at m-hance, and I need to keep saying this, and I say it a lot on any sort of webinars and presentations I do. We use that vanilla functionality. We understand Business Central. We understand, because of our experience, different sectors and different requirements. We're using vanilla functionality of BC to give you as an organization a finance system that works today, but is also flexible enough and scalable enough to work as your organization grows, your requirements grow, your strategic aims grow and change. It's so flexible and so scalable that it really does allow us to have the sort of level of conversations of, you know, an example is one of our recent customers needed something in 30 days, their old system was being cut off. We could give them a system that worked within 30 days. And then we can layer on it as they've got the base system, but we can work with that customer. And that's part of the partnership that we offer at m-hance. We work with the customer base to really layer on that as things, as time progresses, as understanding, as requirements change. And that is one of the key fundamental benefits of Business Central, the scalability of the product. Just to highlight the cloud and to highlight the accessibility, it all sits in the same place. So Microsoft Dynamics 365. Some of you on the call might be using Dynamics 365 for CRM. Business Central is within that Dynamics 365 suite of products, which means it's within the cloud, and it works with, and it seamlessly works with all these products that you're seeing on here. And this is just a selection of them. But because it's all in the one place and they all talk nicely to each other, what it allows us to do is also think about the ability to have systems talking to each other. Now, this is you know, an example of what we can do and what we've done at m-hance. We've got customers who are using CRM. integrate using Power Automate, which is within that cloud on the right-hand side in the middle, information between the CRM system and the BC system, one source of data entry, one source of both systems reading and talking to each other. Dynamics 365 sales, there's automatic integrations into BC so that a Business Central user can see potential opportunities in the pipeline within the windows in Business Central. And that's the sort of scalability we're talking about. All these products seamlessly talk to each other, and I'll go back to it. An investment in BC is an investment in the Microsoft and the Microsoft platform as well. But these systems are all within the cloud, which allows you to even think about in future, like integrating with different systems outside of here. Salesforce, a lot of our customers use and we integrate with. All different things that we can pull in, and the tools that Microsoft provide, and with Dynamics 365 Business Central being in that sort of area, really does give us the ability to make any customer requirement a possibility around one source of data entry and reporting as well. But why would you choose? You know, and I keep repeating, the scalability of Business Central is brilliant for me. So, you know, from our lowest sort of level quick implementations, this is the sort of thing that you get. You know, you're going to have a GL. Most near enough, well, every one of our customers has a GL. But this is out of the box functionality that we can plug in extremely quickly. But then you can layer on. So, you know, you might just have a GL only where you're making tax digital and you know, all these sorts of Excel integration, things like that. But you can layer on. So, you know, you might have purchase orders, you might want to import your bank statements automatically and then do an auto bank statement reconciliation with matching rules and based on value and description and things like that. Customize your own page. You then might want to issue different roles out to people in your organization with that role-based security. And again, all these are, and you don't need to have one of these, a layer of them, but you can mix and match. But then, you know, the next level up to that. This is all Business Central standard functionality. It requires some tailoring, some configuration and setup, but we're not breaking the system. This isn't anything that isn't provided as standard. You've got dimensions for report analysis. So, you know, cost center, region, for the charities are on here, fund type, projects. You know, m-hance have projects as a dimension. We could use project accounting. We've chosen projects as a dimension. Customer analysis, all that sort of stuff. Multi-currency, you can link to different exchange rate services for updated exchange rates if you are multi-currency. Service items, non-inventory items, fixed asset management module. And then, you know, you've got the sort of the more complex sorts of things, such as in full inventory management, job and project costing. The system, because you're on one tenant, you can have access to multi-companies. Some of these companies might do intercompany transactions. We can build that into the system so it automatically recognizes. We have consolidation companies that do your consolidation, multi-currency entity consolidation. And because it's part of Microsoft, Business Central has inbuilt approval workflows as well. So the governance side of things can be controlled. You know, if you might have journal approvals required. Any governance over a transaction page can be built in with workflows within Business Central standard, and a lot of them are standard. They just need sort of plugging into who needs to approve it and what levels people can approve. And yeah, that's just a sort of indicative levels. As I say, you can mix and match. We have some people who just have a GL but multi-currency consolidation and intercompany transactions. You know, you've got full sort of control over what you want and how we will configure that and how we work with you. You know, we're not saying that the first line you've got to have everything and it's going to cost you a certain amount, but we can really use the areas of Business Central. This isn't a small finance system. It's actually really, really quite detailed and does a lot of things, as you can see there. And that's just, there's other things we can do as well. But it also allows us to build some enhancements as well. So we have looked at the system and thought, there's a couple of things that we could really do to build on. And this is using Microsoft technology. So at the top, we've got purchasing expense management. I'm pretty old school, as I said before. I quite like the finance system being for finance people, but using what was on the previous slides around what's within the cloud, we can build power apps, and we have built power apps that allow people who aren't licensed in BC to build purchase invoice, to do purchase invoice approvals, purchase order approvals, expenses via your dedicated mobile app. All this is within the cloud. We built an EFT module that generates and exports and regenerates EFT and batch files, and you send within out for approvals. A bit more complex approvals than what you get standard in BC, but you know, it also includes governance around bank detail changes and things like that, all around the governance side of things, especially around bank. As auditors come in and get a bit more clued up on cloud-based systems, there's a bit higher focus on governance. So we've just sort of enhanced the governance area. And for any charities on the call today, on the webinar today, partial VAT for Business Central, always a pain point whenever we speak to any charities. But we've built a module in the system using standard BC functionality, but just enhancing it a little bit for the partial VAT requirements, which allow users to see the double entry of partial VAT-based transactions in the system against the source transactions, which a lot of the customers who we speak to on legacy systems are doing partial VAT calculations outside of the system, cutting the audit trail, and again, going back to that audit and governance around being able to see in the system. But we're pretty pragmatic at m-hance, and we know other partners and other people have looked at BC and built additional products as well. So we also work with a number of third-party solutions which have already built add-on areas, add-on things that seamlessly fit into BC. Examples are, you know, Material IT for any of the construction companies that are on the call today, around CIS and subcontractors and things like that. These are all things, and you know, we work with Jet Reports for people who are using Jet Reports. We work with Power BI, but a lot of customers who are using Jet are really happy with Jet and want to use it. We've got all these third-party solutions that seamlessly we work with. You know, the third-party people that we engage with all add value, so that we can talk to any customer of any sector, knowing we can offer the right solution to that customer in Business Central. And yeah, we can deliver. I promise you it won't be death by PowerPoint. I will get into the system shortly, but we've got different delivery options because of the scalability. The first two are NFP focused. So we have our NFP finance packages. The lowest one, as I said before, and these are targeted, the first two at the left-hand side are charity focused, but it includes special Microsoft pricing. We were at an event in London at Microsoft offices on Tuesday, and the number of different sort of charity pricing initiatives that are being offered by Microsoft are great across the whole broad spectrum of the Microsoft portfolio. So we've tried to do that as well for smaller charities. We have people up and running in 6 days. The prices, and this includes the licensing and includes the delivery. So, you know, it's a complete subscription model, start from £315 a month. We then have the other NFP packages. So obviously we've got silver, so we'll have gold, and we have platinum. And these all range up to different levels. And it's just building on that scalability and building on the layers of functionality that customers need and customers may need to sort of meet their initial requirements. For the non-NFPs, we do fixed price install. So again, talking about the different layers, we can fix price some based on some of the sort of different requirements. Maximum of 3 companies generally, plus a consolidation company. But we provide specific fixed functionality across the piece in different bands. We bill on milestone payments. We bill, you know, we set the pricing based on the requirements. So we will talk through it. If you think about the previous slide with the layers, you start to thinking, well, we know how long things take. We know how much data, and through the pre-sale process, we'll know how much data you've got, what sort of historical data you want migrating into the system, what functionality you need. So regards to what we can do, especially if you're on a tighter budget, this means there's no projects like creep. and expansion. We provide delivery as per the agreed deliverables at the start of the project, and it's fixed, and you sign off what you get. But what we also have, and this quite often is the route we go. We have the custom build, so we spend hours, sometimes days, potentially weeks, talking to customers and prospects, going through exactly what they need, and we will tailor-made config what you want based on unlimited companies, unlimited users. We build from scratch. We sort of layer on. We configure. We put everything in. We provide UAT systems and processes. We do workshops. We create specific design documents. And the quotes are based on what exactly you need as an organisation. And we can phase it, as I said before. There's nothing massively that, we don't send you up a rabbit hole if you don't want to do it in one big bang. You've got some minimum set requirements and you carry on through that process. But that is based on a day rate. We quote based on your specific requirements and it's time and materials based invoices. And the reason we can do these different options is purely because of the way Business Central is built. It allows us to really think about what's needed, think about what you need. You could come to us and say, you've got a budget of 40 grand, what can you do? Or we can say, listen, if you want Utopia position, this is how much it's going to cost you. So we've got the ability to be really flexible on our delivery and flexible on the pricing as well, which really does help. And that all comes from the way Business Central is structured. So what does it look like? I promise you not that back PowerPoint. So, and it has been 20 odd minutes of me talking. Let's get into the product. Let's have a quick look at it. And what I always find, and it's the same with any system, I always focus on the chart of accounts and the way that the structure of the system is built. Because if you get that structure right, your reporting looks after itself. The data entry, as much as possible, looks after itself. So we'll spend a bit of time looking at the home page, the chart of accounts, and the way that you do your segmented reporting. And then we'll also look at how it interacts with Office 365. We'll look at a couple of quick Excel reports, and then we'll go on to the advanced analytics using Power BI as well, because that is a key part of what Business Central can do. So this is Business Central homepage. You access it via Office 365, and if I just click on my tiles here, you can see there's a Business Central app, and this is what opens. For those of you using CRM, tile-based. At the top of the screen here under settings, you've got the ability to personalize your homepage. You can add different fields in and things like that. You've also got the ability, if you are multi-company, it's a company by company basis. These are the companies in our test system, DEM system. And you, as part of the setup, you may have users who need access to every company. You may only have users who access one company. You set all that as part of the setup in the user administration. There also are a number of roles. So, we've got different roles, team member for like administrator, project manager if you're using that, an accountant role. And we can build roles based on permission sets to really allow you as potential people who are administrating this system, when somebody gets assigned a license, you assign them a role and you assign what company that needs to go to. The roles can be predefined, all there, and they get to say only what you want them to see. But this is a homepage. Now, as you would expect, cloud-based system, everything is drill downable. So if I wanted to look at my ongoing purchase invoices, which haven't been committed to the GL yet, I click on that tab. From here, I get a nice little page. I can see any expenses that haven't been processed. If I click on it, I can go down, I can click on the vendor. Anything in blue is means I can drill down on it. So if I wanted to go to that and see what that is in the system, I can click open. And this is all from my home page. On the purchase invoice page, you get vendor statistics, so you can see what the balance is, what the outstanding invoices are, last payment date, all this information. And because it's cloud-based, you can update. It's a document management system as well. So you can very easily go in, add a note, add an attachment. You can really have that closed loop, auditable loop. And that's directly from your home page. I'm not going to pause But your homepage is, if I scroll, you can set up your favorite chart of account codes. And again, I can drill down from my homepage to every account in my favorite accounts and see what related GL entries are against that. So if I want to see what the double entry was, I don't need to go and find it. I don't need to right click. I'm getting it from that line to see where it went. If there was an attachment, it will be there. Real good accessibility. And you've got your approvals, you've got business performance by customer, we've got snapshots of the TB. And again, even on the TB, you can drill down and see, to see what the total income, there it is. You don't need to have eyes like a hawk. You can drill down, you can go to that level. These are the GL accounts. You get through, you can see budget values. Now, the one thing to add as well, and it goes across every single page, and I'll move on to the chart of accounts before I show it. But I can do the old modular searching. I can click on the finance. I could have it up here as a bookmark. Because it's cloud-based system, you get this search box. So if I type in chart of account, I can search any page straight away. I've got reports. I've got anything on AppSource, Microsoft AppSource. I can search documentation in Microsoft's library about that. I can see any page on the system with chart of accounts on it. But if I just go into the chart of accounts, and I'll just hide that no box. This is the chart of accounts. This is a sort of demo system, a charity-based demo system, but you can see here, you've got your chart of account number. And the first thing to note is you've not got a long string. There's nothing in the chart of accounts that tells you what department it's going to, what project, anything like that. It's just your sort of end codes in most legacy systems. But if I go into you can see here, so I've got my account codes. I've got my account subcategories. So what this is saying, and these are your sort of roll-ups. I've got 4 accounts here that are within the staff cost subcategory. And that is for your reporting. So if I go into here, this is the chart of account number. You can even from the chart of account drill down, but you have to say this is non-negotiable. Is it income statement and balance sheet? What category? Your traditional financial statement categories, non-negotiable. But these account subcategories you can create. So these are the account subcategories we have you would need. And if you think about that, and then you put your chart of account category against the account so that it does the roll up for you automatically. So this allows you to think about what your financial statements, your internal reporting, your external reporting, how you roll that up into the system, and you can build it into here so it does the reporting for you. And when we get onto the reporting, I'll show you how that looks. But you're adding information. If you consolidation, you put your consolidation account code in there. Very, very simple. If you want to add a note in, you can add it in. If you want to say why you created that account and things like that. But it's just the last category of it. Now, say you were thinking, right, so where am I going to put a cost entity? Your chart of accounts is extremely thin in Business Central. It is enhanced by what we call dimensions. So your dimensions, and you can have up to 8 of these header dimensions. These are your analysis codes. So if you're using segments at present, if you've got a long account string where it's got where a hyphen or a dash splits out, these are your different areas. So in our system here, you've got department, you've got project, you've got a fund type, you've got a campaign, you've got an event, and these are the headers. So if I look at department, I can then have as many departments against my system as I want. They're here. Perfect. Now, as I said before, what this does mean is if you create a new department in your organization, previously, what you would need to do in some of the older systems is go and create a ream of chart of account codes with that in. You create a new department or a new segment and it will create another 50 accounts. In this system, you don't need to do that. You just go and add a department in. You're not affecting your chart of accounts. This is all the dimension value management of it. And if I think about campaigns, events, projects, things like that, well, you might have a lot of them, and you might, if I just go to our campaigns, because I think there's a lot of campaigns in here. We've got a number of campaigns here, as you can see, in the system. Now, you might have every year, you might want to load in another 30, 40 campaigns. On every page, and this is where the integration comes in, on every page near enough in Business Central, you'll see this little icon. And what that is, it's one click, open in Excel. You can share to Teams, you can add a link if you're sending it to somebody who's got access to BC. So you've also got this edit in Excel functionality. So if I come into here, edit in Excel, it will open up the dimension value file in a second. That's a preview. If I click on enable editing, what this is doing now, this is, because it's Office 365 control, this is saying, and it's opened up the Microsoft Dynamics window. So I now have all these here. I can go through and add, if I wanted to put in here, if I just insert a line, and I call that, I don't know what I'm going to call it, web, you know, 05. I'll put it web 05. May 22 webinar, and I'm going to, and I just copy that across. What I can do now, and you could, if you didn't want any of these campaigns, if they were closed, if you wanted them not to appear in a list. So if I go to the Warwick Half and put that as true. So I've added one, I've changed Warwick Half. If I click publish, what that's going to do is go away and update BC. Publish successful. Right. So if I now go into Business Central and just come off there and go back into my campaign page, I can see Warwick Half is blocked and Web 05 is in there. So you've got that ability to import, export to Excel. One-click functionality. And what that also means, therefore, is, and you know, when you set up these dimensions, if I was putting through a journal, I can come into a default journal. I can say what the account number is. So if I put this here to donations, if I put that through, I'm going to delete this line after, but just to show what you will put through. At the very end here, I've got event codes, I've got campaign codes. So you can tag at line level transaction what codes you want them to be, and you can decide whether you want these codes to be mandatory, whether you want them to be non-mandatory, however you want it really. And you know, what we always say is try and keep as many as mandatory as possible to help with making sure postings are done correctly. But you can also default these. If I just delete this line, go across. So what you can also do is default these at GL level, supplier level, customer level. So if I go into my list of vendors and I go against my employee record, which is here, because you know I'm not going to change my department. You can go to the vendor record, supplier record against a GL account, against an item if you're using items. You can default dimensions. So this is saying whenever a transaction goes on against me, it has to go against that department and it has to go on against this fund type. But that could be any of your dimensions. If it's same code, that means it can change. You can make it mandatory and you can have it auto-populating with a code. If it's code mandatory, it means you can change it, but it still needs a code in and it won't let you save it. You've got the ability to really enable that ease of transaction entry by putting in these default dimensions. We've also got it where, you know, because of your Excel integration, we have customers, and this is a journal. You probably saw this before, but this is a journal I've got in the background of my system. This is a payroll journal. Just a few lines. On here, I've got this set up. with the department codes, we've got full of being able to just highlight every bit, Control and C, go into Business Central, Control and V, and that's in there in a second or two, and that's ready to post. So what we actually find is some people who are comfortable in Excel will create all their journals in Excel and copy and paste them in like that and post. And within a second, that can be posted. Quick integration, quick processing. Really, really quick processing. And using sort of your Excel, what customers, what your users are happy with and are used to. Reporting wise, and it goes back, you know, we've got different rules and different sorts of things it can do, but so, you know, we have the Excel reports here. So maybe I wanted to just quickly run an age payable. So if I go on age payables, it will open here. And what this does, I might have to, let me see if I enable editing and enable content, you're using the same connector, it's Office 365. This is creating what would be, these are my suppliers here, all my transactions are in. As I post transactions, I can keep this open all day. It's actually created that live connection. I can go and post another 40 purchase invoices, click refresh here, confirm, yeah, and it will refresh that data for me. It technically built that connection that non-technical people would never have used in their life, but they can have it open, they can see the transaction. You can have filters where you take out anything that's zero. That's one-click functionality into Excel with brilliant functionality for users who may not be fully technical. But we've also got Power BI. We've also got integration with Outlook. So we have to think about your users who come in, and this is all standard functionality. This isn't anything we've done. This is standard basic functionality. Generally now, you're getting communication via email, invoices coming in, communication from customers. Because of the Office 365 element, I've just sent myself an email. This is to my dev account. Here, if I just look at it, just to show it's a different account. So I received this email. This email address is against, it's a contact record against my customers in the system. You've got this little Business Central icon here, Contact Insights. I do not need to be in BC. In fact, I'm going to click that button and come out of BC. I'm not in Business Central. But within Outlook now, I have a pane that's opened. I can see what quotes are ongoing, what customer, and this could be a customer or a vendor. I can see default dimensions. I can add notes against the supplier if I want to. So if I come into here and said, customer has called me today, has emailed chasing balance payable, and okay. That stores it, it timestamps it, it puts who's put it on. That's not that's recognized my user reference in BC as well. Brilliant functionality, and you can drill down on all these. So if I wanted to see from Outlook what makes up that balance, then you know you don't need to have that. You can have it as a pop-out window. You don't need to have eyes like I had. And what this is doing, that's open technically in mini BC window within Outlook with the documents in there, with the different stuff. And again, I've now got this nice drill down functionality without even being logged into BC. It's a brilliant function. It's all about, so you imagine it, you might get an invoice in from a supplier. If you are a smaller organization who they all come into one place and get approval immediately and you put them on the system, you could do that from Outlook. You don't even need to be in BC. Again, it depends on volume, it depends on what you want to use, but the accessibility for your user adoption is brilliant on this. And then we have Power BI. So if I just quickly go back into Business Central, you would have seen from the homepage that one of the things that are on here, you've got but Power BI is embedded in the home page of BC. The reporting in BC is nice, it's functional. Power BI, it links, the automatic links to Power BI. So this is a Power BI report that I have visible in the system. And don't worry, you don't need to have eyes like an absolute hawk, you can expand it. And this is now me accessing a Power BI report in Business Central without being in Power BI. And all your filters work. So if I go down on, you know, if I just scroll across to income statement monthly, there's the income statement. I can see it, 2021. I can put the posting dates out. I can see the transactions in. I can get to whatever level of drill down I have in that Power BI report from within BC. But that means you've got to be a BC license holder. We also have Power BI reports that we can do, that we create, and you can use Power BI for non-Business Central license holders. If I go into Power BI, again, linking to BC data, we've got links here to open that data. I can open that record in BC if I've got access to it. We've got, and this is where this highlights to me probably the way the roll-ups work better than anything else that I've seen. So, you know, you can see here, I've got my income accounts. And if we're thinking about the way it was structured before, income accounts, the roll-up account. And I've got this at the top, I've got my account numbers here. That can go down to transactional level, transactional description level. But I've got at the top here my fund types. That was my fund type dimension 1. Click on dimension 2, that's my departments. So I'm seeing the same report with the same P&L cut up with different headers in the same report. And that then means, if you think about it, if you're using campaigns, profitability by campaign, profitability by event, profitability by project, and that is just using the dimension of the functionality. You've got a number of different ways using your dimensions to be able to analyze as per what your specific organization requires. And the dimension of, you know, if you have basic requirements around project accounting, for example, dimensions work perfectly. If you want a full job costing module with labor rates and all that, and management and percent completion billing, the job costing module works perfectly, and we just do it slightly differently and create a report that works by job. This is brilliant reporting functionality. And you know, you fix that asset module, the reports are here. Your vendors, your suppliers, all by your different types. If I click on, you know, I might expand this and say I want to look at just this for my expense users. There it is. You know, I might want to look at that for my utility suppliers. Well, there you go, 706, 706. If I like to click on that, everything is filtering down based on the reporting. And this is all because of the bill. And we provide this report as standard at any level, really, just to give people an uplift from the standard reports that you get into basic. That is a very, very, very quick snapshot. Believe me, you know, generally we go through a lot more stuff, but again, the scalability of it, what you can do at whatever levels. I mean, you could just have a load of dimensions, your GL accounts and post GL transactions, and you can have reports such as this at the touch of a button, auto scheduled to run every week, that you can share with different people without giving them access to BC. All about what you need, and it gives us a level of options. Whenever we're completing tenders, it's difficult to answer questions because we can do anything really. It's the options that we can provide for you as an organisation that fits you best. And that's why I think, you know, between us, you, m-hance, Business Central, it's a really good fit. And working from the bottom. So the first thing we do, we understand, and we've got a history of this. We have an history of Microsoft, of installing Microsoft-based ERP solutions, but we've worked with customers and done this for a long time across sectors. So we understand your requirements. You will have specific requirements that you need to tell us, but in the main, we understand the requirements. And you know, we we will not recommend a solution that doesn't fit your needs. We don't need to oversell, and this is part of the scalability bit. You know, and this doesn't go down well when you're talking to our salespeople, but we don't need to sell you the whole thing at part one. Your building blocks, all the way your building blocks to get to where you need to go. You don't need to do a big bang approach. All can come through, and it can. We're not gonna, because we're not rocket scientists, so we haven't broken the core product. There's no blockers as you want to move forward in your growth, in your change your strategic focus. You don't need to do that. As you saw then, the user adoption, the Excel integration, how it works and all that, it really does enable that. And we will do all the training. It just facilitates it. Using programs initially, once we get used to the system that people are used to, really does increase that user adoption. So to not just on initial look, but also on data entry and through the UAT process, the training process. Because it's in the cloud, and this is one thing that if there's any GP customers on the call, recently you might have a call from our account management team around having to upgrade because of some changes. Business Central, because it's in the cloud, has auto updates, and it automatically upgrades twice a year. As a partner, we get advance notice, so we always do the sort of review of what changes I have and how we can filter that, because there are a lot, and a lot you won't be using in your organisation, but we can filter that so that you're aware of the ones that are going to enhance a product for you. But don't forget m-hance on BC as well. So we are not just doing that as a partner, we're doing it as a BC user. So we really do look at that. And the good thing is, you know, the rollouts, if there's any legislative changes, if there's any VAT changes, anything like that, the rollouts will incorporate that. So you don't have the old on-premise, oh, we need to upgrade because there's some that have been deprecated. This does it automatically. So you get the auto upgrade. So you're always on, technically, or as near as damn it, the latest version. And finally at the top, you know, I always think, I always find this as a cream on top, is a reporting analytic. You saw it today, Excel, you know, with Microsoft Power BI, it really will undoubtedly enhance your reporting outputs on Go Live. But again, you know, I go back to an investment in BC, you're invested in Microsoft, and for those of you who have looked at Power BI and thought about it, I can't stress enough how good it is and how potentially enhancing it is across your organisation for things that aren't just ERP related as well. It really does that collaboration using Microsoft and Power BI, open up a number of doors and windows to really enhance getting the right level of data to the right stakeholder in your organisation at the right time. And that's it. Yeah, I appreciate we have to look at BC, we talk about BC. I hope it's got across the scalability of it as well and about what we can do for you as an organisation. Please do feel free to email me, speak to your account manager if you've engaged with one, look at our generic sort of contact us address. We have further resources that you can look at with more information as well. We have an events page because we do a number of webinars as well across the year. So all touching on different bits, maybe going into a bit more detail on certain things that you might be interested in as well. So please do email me, feel free, email whoever and look at our resources. One final thing before we go, there will be a survey that pops up at the end of this. Please do fill it in. I don't take anything personally. Please be honest with your feedback. And if, you know, one of the questions on there is what webinars you'd want to see in the future, please do feel free to make comments, be as honest as you can, honestly, because all your feedback is taken on board and is acted on. I do assure you of that. Other than that, thank you very much for your time today. Hopefully it's a nice day across the UK, so you get some sun at the end of the working day. Thank you very much and speak to you all soon, hopefully. Thank you.